Um, just like I said from the previous video, I would like to talk about Ishvara, Shiva being a god of destruction or not a god of destruction. I do not consider him as a god of destruction. There are many reasons for that, because when you translate Sanskrit to English, it loses its meaning because there are lots of words which is not similar. For example, a graha is not equal to a planet. It means completely different. So when someone says something related to graha and when they correlate it with the planet, it loses its meaning. So lots of things are lost in that translation. Shiva is a not of god of destruction. He is a Laya karta. Basically, that is what it means. I'll tell you why. If there is a new building, it's usable. If someone destroys it, even if it is usable, if it is fine, then that is called destruction. Something valuable which is destroyed. But that building is run down, it is supposed to be fallen down. If it is in the danger of, people cannot live in it, it is supposed to, you know, get demolished. So the new structure can be raised in the same place. So whenever there is a need for new thing to grow, the new creation to happen in the place of stale and older one which is unusable or not usable properly, then it is with intention of that the demolition happens. That is called Laya. It is not destruction, because that Laya is supposed to happen so the new construction can happen. That is what Ishvara does. In another example I can give, tilling the ground before the crops are grown. That is called Laya. In actual meaning, it is not a destruction at all. For example, if anyone has seen the rice paddies, when the rice paddy is harvested, that little bit of that bottom will be left and it will not be taken out, usually on a traditional way. So when the new season for the new crop to be grown, it will be destructed, like destroyed. That is demolition. That is tilling the ground for the new crops to be grown. It is like equalizing the ground, the soil for the new harvest. That is not destruction. So when people say Ishvara or Shiva is a god of destruction, I just smile, because there is so many things are lost that we even who actually know all of this from this within, and we know his kindest side, and to call him the god of destruction, it seems like a very trivial thing, and that is okay. He doesn't mind, by the way. And the most thing I really like about Shiva or Ishvara is that there are lots of things people do not talk about him on a general basis. One thing everybody talks about is how easy it is to please him. It's very easy. He doesn't ask anything anyway. It's very easy to please him. That is why he's been called as Bholenatha. It is true. And another thing that people can notice that he is very unbiased person. If you see, older stories or mythological stories, whatever you call it, history or mythology, it's up to you to call whatever you want to call it as. But whatever it is, if you are a believer, whether it's a mythology or a history, he is one of the gods who always gave boon depending on the devotee. Means basically what I'm trying to say is, in the case of Vishnu, in the case of creator Brahma, they always hesitate whenever they are giving boon to a demon, or I wouldn't say demon because it has no meaning in Hindu mythology. It is just a regular general word, whether it's a Rakshasa or a Asura. They always hesitate, they always try to mess it up. because they fear because all those things will come down on humans. But Ishvara is someone who does not, he cares about human, but he is not biased whether someone who is asking boon from him is a human being or a god himself. He only see the penance of the person and he gives the boon according to that, whether it's a human or a god or a danava, asura, rakshasa. He does not check if that person, that being is qualified to receive the boon. He appears and he gives the boon. So he is one of the utmost unbiased gods are out there. That is the second point. And third, people don't realize, people usually call Krishna as a ranchod because he has lots of tricks in his belt, and he does it only for the good things. But people don't realize and call Ishvara as a Bholenath because he's really straightforward. But according to one of the stories that I read, he is one of the most intelligent one. I'll tell you why. According to this one story, someone created these three murtis, right? Creation happened before that. According to this story, the actual creator is Adi Shakti. She is the one who created Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, the three gods for creation, perseverance, and this demolition or whatever left is to create the new thing. Laya, karta. So after creating them, she gives them some directives and they do not agree to that. And out of anger, I wouldn't say anger because her purpose was not done, so she undone them. Like she literally created them and immediately uncreated them. And what happened was, again she created them back. It happened few times. So what happened was, after some repentance of all of these things, when she said, Adi Shakti said the directives, this is you have to do and such and things, Ishvara said, okay, I'll do it, we'll do it, but I need something from you. And Adi Shakti agreed, and because of that, she had to give her third eye to the Ishvara. So it was supposed to be a gift from Adi Shakti to Ishvara, according to the story that I wrote. I read a lot long ago. So after that, that is why she could not burn them down. She used that third eye to kill all three of them after creating them. So after that, so she could not burn them down because Ishvara has the eye now. But she understood why he did that, and she actually happy that he did that. And what she did, she gave a part of herself for each in the name of Saraswati, Parvati, and Lakshmi, because they needed other half. It's called Prakriti, a feminine energy. So she gave a part of herself to each so they can do their job properly. So because of this story, I realized that how intelligent he is actually. And another one is he is the one who cut the head of Brahma, because whenever he showed his egoistic side, Ishvara is the one who cut the fifth head of Brahma to eliminate that. So he was ready to do whatever needs to be done as well. So it's not like that he is too innocent or something like that. He does the thing that he needs to do. These are all the normal things that people talk about or remember. There are other things that people do not talk about that I would like to talk about. Is that first fact that I said that he is not a god of destruction. He is a Laya karta. There is a difference. There is a stark difference. Because there needs to be a debate regarding this issue, because if you read Ganesha Atharvashirša, Ganapati is been also called the creator and the preserver, and he is also called as the Laya karta itself. So why we did that, I have no idea. maybe some qualified scholars has to do the, digging and searching and everything. And when I come back to Ishvara, I noticed one more thing. The first one is, I I don't like that name, the god of destruction. He is not a god of destruction. He does the cosmic dance. He only eliminates the leftovers, the unusables, so the new creation can happen. He only destroys what needs to be destroyed. What was actually in youth, what is actually being used, it is not destroyed by him at all. And one more thing I would like to, there are two more things I want to talk about. People do not normally talk about him. Is that creator has one job, that is to create. And Mahavishnu, he is a preserver, so he looked after the beings of earth and such. But Ishvara has two jobs. He is literally the lord of afterlife. He is not like a Hades or something like that. No, he is the boss of Yama, basically. So that is why he has lot of ganas. He lives a very minimalistic life. The way he dresses up, the way he lives in the mountain, it's all because he is a destroyer of illusion. So whenever we see spirituality comes up, especially Shiva and Shakti are mentioned, Ishvara and Mahakali, they're being used whenever the spirituality is mentioned, especially in Sanatana Dharma. So he is an epitome of spiritual expansion and spiritual ascension. And this point I want to talk about is, even creator Brahma, he did give boon to certain Danavas, Asuras with time, but it's very less interactive. He is very, very less interactive with the humans. Even Mahavishnu is a preserver, so he looks after the human beings and whoever is alive and such. He's not much bothered about afterlife. Yes, the people who go to Vaikuntha and such, who believes him go to Vaikuntha, those kind of belief system, that is different. But no matter what, Yama is the king of hell, the afterlife. This English word does not even give justification to the words that are actually mentioned in Sanatana Dharma. So using this word does not seem right, but for some reason we have to use some word to make it understandable. So please bear with me. So the Yama and Chitragupta are the main people, like the king and the prime ministers of whatever happens afterworld, in the afterworld. But Ishvara he is the main guy. Yama comes under his jurisdiction. So even when someone does Homa and Havana, whatever left after doing the Homa Havana, it goes to Ishvara according to scriptures. So whatever is left, it goes to Ishvara. So whatever afterlife is, that also goes to Ishvara. That is why spirituality is also connected to him. He is the one God. He actually has the responsibility of Laya karta. He is the Laya karta and actually connected to afterlife, rebirth and such. But he is one of the main deities. He's one of the most famous deities who looks after the beings who are still alive. So basically he does two jobs, not just one job. See, when I say one job, two job, I'm not degrading any other. I'm simply stating the fact that people do not usually consider these kind of things when they think about Ishvara. It's okay to scratch your own head, create your own imagination. It's different, but people don't realize these kind of things. And he does two things as well: look after the beings who are alive, just like Mahavishnu, and he also has the responsibility of afterlife as well. It's like basically he's taking on two works, two realms. It's like traveling, with one leg in one boat. Only he can do that. So that is one thing that I noticed. And last thing I noticed, that I never heard anybody talking about this. Uh, the story goes that I read somewhere. I have no idea where did I read. Before the creation started, he separated Prakriti from himself because Brahma needed it. So, because of that separation, he became a little bit different, imbalanced, which did not affected the creation because Prakriti was very much needed to create the universe or whatever their job is. When that happens, she has to go back to Ishvara. But Ishvara was, it was a long time without Shakti, so he refused to take her. So what happened was, there is a thing called divine intervention. The other gods, they interfered, and finally Shakti was born as a Sati. So Sati was a mortal. She was a human being. So finally, after all of those things, finally Ishvara accepted her as other half. But the thing is, he did not accepted her in the beginning. Like literally, if you read their story, he was reluctant to accept her. So yeah, I'm just still trying to understand this whole thing. How much of a husband he is. People talk about being Rama, this and that, but I don't think anyone can come even closer. See, I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm not looking down on anybody. It is my personal view, and I do not claim to know everything. And it's personal choice, personal opinion, and how I see it. And even if I feel like this is my opinion, I might be able to convey it in a right way. I might not be able to convey it in a right way with the rightful wordings, but I'll try. The thing is, when that Shakti, his other half, was born as a Sati in a human form, as a mortal, he was very much reluctant. Basically, he rejected consciously, unconsciously, but he accepted her and married her, okay? So, because of that rejection, it has to appear in a physical form, because the universe is always a reflection of ourselves as a mirror. So he rejected her unconsciously, so she had to go away. She cannot stay in that way, in a physical form. So I wouldn't say because of that it happened, but for some reason she passed away, right? Okay. So for some reason she passed away. Now imagine what he did as a husband, as a god who's connected to spiritualities, as a god who's connected to breaking of illusion, as a god who actually liberates people from the distraction, from illusions of this earth and world, who is a liberator basically. What he did, he took her dead body and he roamed around the universe. He did not let anybody touch it. He did not let her body to be buried. He behaved like a human husband. He mourned her a long, very long time, until other gods actually took that body away from him. And when I hear this story, when I was little, it didn't make too much impact on me. But as I grew up, it made sense. I always asked why a god would do these kind of things when they are the liberator of distractions, illusions. They know she will be born again. Why he would mourn her? Why would he would be sad? He already lived like literally very, very, very long time without her before that. And when she passed away as a Sati, why would he make a big mess out of all of this? She would be reborn again. She would come back to him. Why would he do that? And especially even if he knew that it would all happen, he did not try to stop it. He did not try to mess it up. And he never tried to control her movement. It is her fate. So he let her have it. But after that, the being who we call and we pray to, because remover of illusion, it's a guideline It's a guide for spiritual ascension. Aghoris, they follow him, right? Yeah. And they basically eat everything, even from the flesh or their own feces. It's only because they think that everything is made up of energy, vibration, and such. So they do not see any difference, just to prove that they do all of these things. See, if you see that things in a very in depth way, you understand and you don't misunderstand, you don't feel disgust towards them. So he is an epitome of spiritual growth, but he behaved like a human. He mourned her, he mourned her, he mourned her for too long. And I couldn't find the answer for too long. And recently I just realized that it's because she was a human. When he married her, she was a human. And he loved her. And since she was a human, it was very much important for her that her husband show the rightful mourning as a human being as well, because even though he is a god, he's an immortal, she was a mortal. She desired or deserved that kind of a mourning from her husband. That is a respect a husband should show if he ever loves his wife. That's what humans do, right? If there are stories, people, once they lose their life partner, they mourn their whole life. They don't let anybody come in. That's what he did, to show her the respect, because she was a mortal, she was a human. And he voluntarily separated his consciousness, his God consciousness, and he adopted the human psychology just to honor her. So he can mourn her as her husband, but she was a human, so he adopted what human would do to honor her. What kind of husband he is. I mean, even after being a god, who's an epitome of spiritual ascension, who liberates, these illusions from our mind. But when his wife died, passed away, Sati was a mortal. He voluntarily removed his consciousness from that spirituality, from his higher self, and he voluntarily took the role of her husband, which is, she deserved that she would be mourned as a human. So her husband's job is to mourn her as a human. So he did that just for her, because he loved her that much. What would you want more than from anybody? People speak of love and stories like sacrificing for each other, mourning for each other. When I felt the way he loved her and why he mourned her the way he did, it's just an epiphany that hit me so much and made me realize that how much he must have loved her, that he even dropped his godly ship for her, to mourn her, to honor her, because he loved her, and she deserved that kind of mourning because she chose to marry him. But her form was human form. But when she was born again as a daughter of Parvataraj, as a Parvati, he did not rejected her. That is why nothing happened to her, in my own understanding. So all of these things makes him very dear to my heart for some reason. You may call it a personalized version of God, because I do not see any point when people say, no, you have to revere God. No, you have to keep them in your heart. You can make them whatever you want them to be, whether you want to look at them as a God or you want to look at them as a parents or someone very close to your heart. It's up to you, because they will always love you no matter what. God, the meaning of God is unconditional love. So people realize it when either they are in trouble and the help comes from above, or they themselves elevate and they see life from the point of view of their own higher self. So there is a qualification to see the actual uh, way of God, or to see things. For example, a same thing, same event happening with a bunch of people, they may experience it in a very different way. Some may be fearful, some may be happy, some may feel like something supernatural happened. So it's up to their own understanding of life, wherever they are emotionally, wherever they are spiritually. So even the same thing happen to a bunch of people at the same time, they may perceive things very differently. So the understanding of God can differ from one person to person. That is acceptable for everybody in Sanatana Dharma, which is why I think it's very essential that it keeps our mind open. It does not push us to that narrow-mindedness that this has to be God. We are not here to define God. We are here to define ourselves. We are here to define how we should live, or how we could live the better way to live, not just for ourselves, for everybody as well. So, but majority of the time humans try to define, this is God, this is not God, this is godly, this is not godly, this is how it should be, this is not how we should not be. And I would say that's also okay to a certain extent when they keep it to themselves. But whenever try to, these kind of people or anybody try to push it on someone else forcefully, with the intention of looking down on them, thinking that they are the only person who knows everything, that does not make sense. No one knows everything. uh, Everyone has their own limitations. Not everybody knows everything, no matter who they are, no matter how well versed they are. They do not know everything. That is why messages from the divine comes to everybody. It's up to them to accept it or reject it. They don't even know. People don't even realize sometimes. That is why intuition works in some people. Sixth sense, all of these things are very much related to divine and our higher self. If we are ready to receive, we'll receive it. Anyway, I was supposed to talk about God Ishvara. That's why all of these things that I mentioned, this is just me and my opinion, and I would like to share it to the world, with the world. If anybody has your own opinion, please do share, and keep it civil. That's all.